You're too fat, you're too skinny, nobody wants you here, you can't sit here.
Who are these kids? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see, today I have my girl Nicole here with me. She has an amazing YouTube channel, so actually just did another video on her channel on anxiety and a bunch of really prevalent topics. So anyways, make sure to go check out her videos. She is an amazing content creator, speaker, woman of faith, and all the things. You're just gonna love her.
Goodness.
You're gonna love her just like I do. So yeah, this video today is on insecurities, body image, overcoming eating disorders, etc. So it's definitely more of a hard topic, but something that we're both super passionate about. So if you're new to my channel, my hope is for this to just feel like you're sitting down with your friend and we're just having casual conversation about really hard topics in hopes that it encourages you or inspires you in some way. And this video is something that's really near and dear to her heart and something that I've also struggled with. And wow, let's just get to it. I actually had a really hard time comparing myself to myself when it came to body image, because I had gotten into, you know, the best shape of my life to prepare for Miss America, and then coming out of it, I just thought my body was supposed to look like that every day, and that's not quite what happens in life. And so yeah, so we're gonna talk about how body image can really affect you, negatively, positively, how we've dealt with it. So dude, just jump in, go for it.
So my story is interesting, especially with this topic, because when I started competing for Miss America, my platform was about goal setting, and it was about having big dreams and encouraging kids to live a life without limits. And that's a great platform. It was good and fun, but at my Miss California interview, I just kind of felt like the judges didn't really get to know me, and I was actually having lunch with Kira, my friend, and I told her that, and she's like, well, what do you wish they would have known? Like, what do you keep saying that you don't feel like they got to know you, what do you want them to know? And I started sharing my story about my life and the things I went through, and we weren't even 2 minutes in and we were both crying. And she goes, that's your platform, you have to change your platform. And it was all related to body image and eating disorders and my story growing up. And I was so scared because in my heart I knew that I needed to change it. I just wasn't ready to share that with the world, because all my life I told myself that if I open up about this, that people will think less of me, that something will be wrong with me, I'm the only one going through it, and nobody can know that I have this weakness because it's this big bad scary thing. And I was still going through it at the time, and I think at that moment was the first step to my healing. And I took the next day with a journal, and I just started writing out every single thing I can remember a mean girl saying to me, things that had become my identity, things that I had slapped on as labels that just like covered me up. And I believed like, you're too fat, you're too skinny, nobody wants you here, you can't sit here, all of these things, like you should go on what not to wear, you don't know anything about fashion, take that shirt off.
Who are these kids?
Just like awful things, and like I could go on, but that's not the point. The point is that I began to write those things out, and I spoke them out. I was like, that's not true, that's not who I am. And I felt like God was gently starting to peel off those labels that had become my identity, and I was finally able to breathe again. And I was like, whoa, didn't realize that was so heavy on me. And it took a lot of courage to finally open up. I guess I haven't even shared what that story is, but long story short, my sister developed an eating disorder in high school, and my sister's my best friend. I've always aspired to be just like her, and we've grown up doing pretty much the same things. We both danced, we both did pageants, and so when this happened, I got afraid that I would develop an eating disorder too, because it happened to her. So it happened to her, it happened to me. And so I kind of did everything in my power to make sure it didn't happen to me, and in turn gave myself my own one because it got in my head. The only thing I could think of was food in my body and how much I was exercising, and so I did things like write on flashcards exactly what I was allowed to eat for the day, and I wouldn't eat anything beyond that list. And I was in an advanced weight training class at school, plus dancing 10.5 hours a week and going to the gym, because I didn't want to develop an eating disorder. I mean, that was the eating disorder.
Isn't it crazy what your mind does? Like you think you're preventing something, and in turn you develop it.
I tried to take it into control, and I ruined it. I ruined myself, I ruined my body. I was so small, and I was in college. I was so stressed out, so full of anxiety. I had a national title at the time, and I was so stressed out about that, with the pressure, feeling like I had to live up to this expectation of being America's Junior Miss, but I had this problem, and I'm like, no one can know.
Wow.
Because God forbid they know that I'm a human and have a weakness, like, and I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And nobody can know that. So I didn't tell anybody, and I isolated myself, and all my hair fell out, and I couldn't sleep, I couldn't keep food down. I mean, I was so unhealthy. Until fast forward a year and a half, when I had that conversation with Kira and I spoke all those things out, that I decided to open up about this whole area of my life that nobody knew. The second I did, I had, I think, 75 messages in my inbox within an hour of girls who were like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. Me too. That really encouraged me. Like, how did you get through it? Do you have any advice? Like, I'm so glad you said something. And or I actually laughed, because it was like the one thing I was trying to run away from was the one thing God was trying to use to help me reach people.
Wow.
And all my life, not all my life, but in high school, He gave me my purpose, which is to feed people across the world, and it all centers around food. And so it kind of scared me, because I was really struggling with food at the time. I'm like, how am I going to feed people across the world when I can't even feed myself? Wow. Yeah.
Isn't it crazy too? Like, I think we've talked about this before. I don't know if I've talked about it on my channel or just with my girlfriends, because I get confused with the both, because y'all are my girlfriends. The enemy will use things in our lives that we don't want to share, and we feel like they're this dark thing in our life, but it's only dark because we leave it in the dark and we don't bring it to light and talk about it and share it, where God can shine His light on it. And so it just remains this deep, dark place in us, and we just feed it, you know, instead of, like you said, as soon as you shared it, you felt so much lighter. Wow, now this thing that had so much control over me, now I feel like I can move forward and use it to inspire.
And we just did a video on my channel talking a lot about identity, and I think this kind of goes along with that story. When I finally separated my physical appearance from my identity, knowing that the way my body looks physically does not define me. It doesn't mean I'm better or worse or beautiful or ugly. Like, that has nothing to do with the infinite value God's placed on my life. It took a lot of stress off of having to look a certain way. And it also gave me this immense love and respect to take care of myself that I never had before. Because I'm like, oh my gosh, God created me and He loves me so much. Like, I should want to eat healthy. I should want to take care of myself.
Feed my body as a temple.
Exactly. And exercise to be strong so that I can do stuff. That's why I do it now, and not so that I can look a certain way.
Healthy new perspective on why we're taking care of our bodies versus comparison driving why we're doing certain things to have a certain look.
I mean, I'll say it a million times. I feel like you can drink enough water, exercise the right amount, and eat the right amount of foods, but if you don't deal with the things in your heart, you're still going to be unhealthy. And that was where I was. I was checking all the right boxes in terms of health,
just not,
but not mentally. Mentally healthy was gone. In my heart.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I know that we're not alone, and so if you're watching this video and you're struggling with body image or an eating disorder, just know that there's other people around you, and you shouldn't stay in your box. You need to talk to someone. Like you kind of said, you talking to someone was that first step. And
I didn't do it because I thought I was the only one. So I think what she said is so good. Like, you're not alone. Truly, you're not alone. It might feel like it, but I guarantee you there's 90 other girls out there feeling exactly like you are.
And I feel like a lot of reasons why people don't is just that fear of man. Like, you don't want to be associated with it, or you don't want to be labeled the girl who struggles with that.
Something's wrong with you.
Yeah. If you're feeling fear, you should know that it's not from God, and that fear is a tactic to isolate you inside of whatever you're struggling with, and you cannot let that guide your life. And so for me, with body image, I felt like I didn't struggle with it until after pageant land, which is I remember having to literally go on my Instagram and unfollow all of the girls who led me into comparison. And that's not like a I don't like you unfollow. It's a I like me enough. I love myself enough to know that if I keep looking at your swimsuit pictures with your perfect body, it's gonna drive me into this little hole where I feel like I need to do certain things. And kind of like you were saying when you were getting ready for pageants and everything, I was drinking like 2 gallons of water a day. I was flipping drowning and peeing every 20 minutes. And couldn't get anything done, by the way, when you're drinking that much water, because you're literally in the bathroom all the time. Just saying. Working out for 2 hours a day on the treadmill for an hour, then another workout for an hour.
Oh gosh, I didn't do that. That sounds awful.
And then I was dancing on top of it, and then I had a portion plate, so I could only eat whatever fit in my portion plate.
Oh, wait, that sounds awful.
It was.
You don't have to do that, by the way.
And then it made it, I mean, it was great that I won swimsuit at Miss America, but at the same point in time, I thought that whole time that if I won swimsuit at Miss America, that I would never struggle with body image issues, because I could just be like, but I was that at one point. But instead it did the complete opposite, and I felt like I had to maintain that high standard that was so unattainable. Then I wasn't even trapped in comparing myself to other girls.
Yep.
I was trapped in comparing myself to
your
my
past
old self. And I'm like,
too. And I look at pictures and I'm like, I can't stand to look at pictures of myself sometimes, because then I go back and look at my Miss America pictures and I'm like, oh, I was so beautiful then. And I'm like, no, Nicole, no, because it's not true. I felt like people would look at me and think, oh, what happened to her? Yeah.
Fear of people's opinion. I feel like fear of people, fear of judgment, all those things drive us into anxiety, depression, eating disorders, insecurity. Like, it's all about fear of people and not loving ourselves for exactly the way God created you, and knowing your identity, knowing that you're more precious than rubies and gems and gold and all those things that the Lord says you are. And sometimes it's hard because when we look in the mirror, we don't see that. And I get this a lot. They're like, oh, you struggled with body image? Really? And I'm like, yes, I did. Just because I was in pageant land and had this title and won a swimsuit comp does not mean I never struggled with body image issues. I think it only heightened them because I was on a bigger platform for more people to judge me. Loving yourself is key. Seeing yourself the way God sees you. And just a practical tip, like if I can give you a practical tip to overcome this, is get little post-it notes and put them on your mirror.
Literally have a circle in my where my face goes.
I am worthy. I am beautiful. God sees me as his royal daughter.
I am a rock star.
Do it. When you start realizing who you already are and not living in who I want to become or who I was, who I am right now in this moment is enough. You are beautiful.
Your worth and value is placed in your physical appearance as it is now. Well, that ain't gonna last very long because you're gonna change, you're gonna get wrinkles. Like, your body is always changing. I think healing is an ongoing process, and although I'm much farther along in my progress than I was when I first started, it's not such a big part of my identity. I know that it doesn't define me. I know that I'm worth more. I know that God still has plans and a purpose for me. And so I don't let that stop me. And the second I'm aware of it, I submit that and surrender it to God. And I'm like, I know this is not right. It's in my head, but I know it's not right. And so I'm gonna speak truth. I'm gonna read scripture, and I'm gonna declare what is mine and what is true, because this does not define me. So I also think, like, don't be hard on yourself if you are having those thoughts, because that's normal. Like, you can have those thoughts, but when you have those thoughts, it depends on how you respond to them. Don't let them sit, don't let them fester, don't let them make camp. You say no.
It reminded me of the verse, like, we walk through the valley of death. We don't set camp up there. There really is a path to a healthy version of yourself, whether that's today or tomorrow or a year from now. Like, it's a process, and it's okay for it to be a process. It's definitely not a switch that just happened. You're like, oh, now I'm healthy and I've totally conquered body image and I have no more insecurities. And that's not the case. This is not a video to say, like, this is something I struggled with a long time ago and now I'm completely past it. It's, we're here to be like, you're not alone. We still have issues and we're working through them too. Isn't she awesome? She's like,
I'm so passionate about it because I spent so many years of my life like not following my dreams and fulfilling my purpose because I was so worried about my body and what I looked like and not feeding it. And I didn't have enough energy to even dream because I wasn't giving myself the right amount of food. Like I couldn't, I don't even know how I survived.
This is actually making me really hungry.
We need a snack.
I'm so hungry.
But I think my main message and what I want to get across is that you are enough, not because of what you look like or because of what you do, but you're enough because God created you with purpose, and that will never change. Like, there's a reason you're here on earth. If there wasn't, like, you wouldn't be here still breathing air. So the fact that you're sitting here watching this video means that there's something more for you.
Yeah, guys. If that encouraged you at all, please like and subscribe and turn on your notifications. Don't forget to go over to her channel and watch the other video that we did. Y'all are the absolute best and the sweetest. I read every comment and it makes me really happy. So I love you guys. See you in the next video. Bye.